Tell me that you love me, that you will always be there for me, that you would never leave me for anyone?" Her voice drowned in the quiet rustle of the leaves. The moonlight illuminated her sweet face with the impartiality of a mirror. He looked straight into her eyes and remained silent. He knew that she understood him well without words, just as he understood her all the time. She just wanted to talk. He did not interrupt her, for her voice was better than any music to him. He simply reveled in the happiness and joy of his beloved's closeness and rejoiced in the magnificent nature around him. The gentle evening breeze, still hot from the heat of the day, pleasantly blew on their naked bodies. The soft sand, picked up by gusts of wind, gently tickled the skin. The sun, which had almost disappeared, was sending its last rays for the day to all lovers, and it was so nice to be among these happy people. Their lips found each other and merged into a long kiss. He remembered to breathe only after a few minutes, when his lungs were ready to burst. They lay down on the undulating sand and lay looking up at the sky. "I so love swimming at night, shall we go for a dip?" she said. She didn't have to ask, he was always ready to fulfill her every wish. They went. The water was pleasantly cold on the skin, the bottom began to disappear under her feet. When he had swum some distance, he turned around and saw that she had stopped, coming in waist deep. He wanted to call her to race with him, but then he realized the beauty of the picture before him. Her marble profile against the sunset sky was unforgettable, her firm, beautifully shaped breasts covered with drops of water, her fluffy hair flapping in the wind, and because he was deeper in the water, her slightly parted legs hid nothing from his view. "Stay like that for a while longer, I want to remember you like this for the rest of my life," he wished he could paint, because such a picture would always delight the eye and would not leave anyone indifferent. She laughed. "You'll see enough of me." She walked slowly up to him, and putting her hands on his shoulders, she continued seriously, "Because we'll always be together." From her he suddenly realized that he had been horny beyond all measure for a long time. She followed his gaze, looked into his eyes understandingly, and, without saying anything, pressed her whole body against his, her lips connecting the two desiring bodies again. His hands gently stroked her back and buttocks. She slowly ran her hands down his sides and grasped his tense flesh. He shuddered at the sharp, pleasurable sensation. She began to crouch slowly, sinking gently under the water in the process. After giving him a few seconds of keen pleasure, she suddenly stopped caressing him, noticing that he was ready to unload. As soon as she emerged, he immediately picked her up in his arms and carried her to shore. They lay down on the grass, and he used his lips to collect droplets of water from her breasts. Gradually he went lower and lower, her breathing became more and more frequent, her hips began to move to meet his movements. He drank her juice, which seemed to him to be the most intoxicating drink he had ever tasted. She herself stopped him when she felt herself coming to the release point. They wanted to orgasm together so badly that she managed to stop herself. She lay back comfortably on the soft grass. He stood over her, his heaving flesh trembling in time with the rapid beat of his heart. She helped him by making a subtle movement with her hips, and he began to plunge into the tantalizing depths. He hesitated a little, then began even movements. Their breathing quickened, his lips found her breasts, then began to kiss her neck softly. She let out a low moan. He stopped. "Are you in pain?" "No, not at all. It's just pleasure." They hadn't noticed that it was all said in a low whisper. He couldn't keep it up much longer, and soon he felt that he was almost at the point where he could never get back. The look on her face told him the same thing was happening to her. His movements became sharper and faster. They had reached the finish line. They were now on the home stretch, and then their bodies melded together in an all-consuming explosion of passion and sheer pleasure. The shore was ringed with a last long moan, and everything sounded in it: joy, sweet pain, happiness, and gratitude to the one who had brought pleasure. The whitish drops struck her fist tightly. His hand made a few more movements along his cock, which was beginning to lose its hardness. He turned on his side on the crumpled sheets and looked out the window at the star-studded sky. The lake shore was slowly disappearing from his thoughts, only her image remained, clear and pure, inspiring hope for tomorrow. Tomorrow the first class would be computer science, and they would sit next to each other again, and, if they were lucky, they would both be kicked out of the classroom for talking during the class.